Right, welcome back, guys, to the 12th Man, the regular Thursday night Roadshow, 7:30pm. If you're unfamiliar with the format of the show, we look at all the latest Ipswich Town news in the look ahead to the weekend fixture. Tonight, we're here at Three Wise Monkeys in Ipswich. And as you can probably see from the start and intro, this place is full of character. If you want to come down here, they've got special offers on for Ipswich Town fans. If you look via the app, they have got an app, so just search Three Wise Monkeys on App Store, and there is offers for Ipswich Town fans. But they've got everything here. They've got a restaurant, they've got a gin bar, they've got a good bar. Just get down here, have a look. If you haven't been down here, it's definitely worth bringing your missus down, your girlfriend, or your bit on the side. Just depends what you're up to. Tonight we're joined by the 12th man himself, Mark Beck, freelance writer and football reporter Mark Tuxford, and regular armchair Andy Rutter. You alright then, boys? Yeah. Feeling good? Yeah. Right. We said where we are tonight, but should we look into the headlines? And firstly, obviously Town won 2-1 at the weekend, but we'll start with Flynn Downs, who stated his intent to stay with ITFC beyond the transfer window. Are we happy with that?
Delighted, but I think sadly he will be gone after the season, regardless of whether we're in the Championship or, God forbid, we're still in League One. Yeah. Unquestionably the best player we've got at the club, and destined for much bigger things than where we are at the minute. Yeah. The West Ham link was around a few weeks ago, so I could quite easily see him doing like others have done, like Luton's two boys did last season. Yeah. Completely skip the Championship and go to the Premier League. But yeah, we've got him for now, so might as well enjoy him while he's here. Yeah,
he didn't stand out in the Championship, did he, Mark? In a sense that everyone was looking at him, but now he's in League One. He's probably coming to his own and attracting interest from top clubs. Could he skip the Championship, go straight to Premier League?
Yes, I think he's had experience of League One. Obviously, when he was at Luton on loan, played very well there, and I think he could obviously skip, the Championship and possibly go to, a Premier League side. But it depends who's interested in him, who's going to give him games. I think he's been linked obviously with Fulham at the moment. We're obviously in the Championship, but he might be better off going somewhere that's the Championship club and then going along there. But it depends if we get promoted. Yeah. We could give him at least a season, and then if someone comes in to buy him, then obviously we could get him back on loan, maybe, especially if it was a top sort of Premier League side. So, yeah.
Agree with that. Obviously, it's not just Downs, it's Wolverhampton as well that's attracting interest from clubs higher up, Andy. But both of them are playing really well this season and catalysts for Ipswich Town, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Wolfie's kind of as good on the wing going forward as he is calm at the back. Yeah. How many times have we seen him bit of the Megnuts in the build-up play to putting the ball in the box? It can be really attacking.
Well, I mean, on Saturday, I don't know if you saw it, but twice he shouldered it into the direction it was going. I mean, immense skill to get that down.
And I think for one of the chances, he played this incredible ball out to the wing to Garbutt. Yeah. Just kind of defence split and pass. Yeah. So he's got it in his locker, and being English as well, there's obviously going to be interest. Yeah. Could make a few 100 million on him, I think, if we play our cards right.
Or a couple of flakes.
Yeah, a couple of flakes, you never know. Let's quickly look at the other side of Ipswich Town. Obviously, the women have made it through to the fourth round of the FA Cup, taking on Huddersfield this weekend. Myself and the boys are going down there, not you guys, but through the others, You're going down to Huddersfield, going up to Huddersfield, obviously, and we've got behind-the-scenes access, so we'll be doing whatever we can in the John Smith Stadium, hopefully getting a few free pints, but see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it. They obviously won 14-0 against Brentford on Saturday. I mean,
close game.
It was a close game.
Close game, right?
I would say men against boys.
Yeah, men against boys, but you can't say that, can you?
Ladies against girls.
Yeah, the problem is, obviously, at that level, the contrast in quality is just, it drops significantly once you go below, that last league level, and that's where the women are at the moment. They're actively trying to get out of that level and go up one more, and they'll be playing teams like Huddersfield week in, week out next year, but it'll be nice to see whether they can put themselves about against them. Obviously they beat Portsmouth, who are in the technically in the division above them as well, so you've had a good test already, and by no means are they out of the FA Cup at this moment in time, so they've got a good chance of getting through. But let's have a look at the next one. Town boss Paul Lambert believes Town have hit form at just the right time. I mean, firstly, do we agree with the statement, Andy? And secondly, do you believe the statement?
Oh, of course. You kind of every season we say, look where you are in December, Christmas, and you're going to be thereabouts end of the season. And we've had a bit of a blip around Christmas, but more importantly, we're still thereabouts, and hopefully we'll build on it. And we're not really losing games. We've lost the odd one or two here and there, but if we're not going to win the game, we're sure we're not going to lose. And that's really important. That's kind of form you see throughout the whole season from teams that go up.
Yeah, we'll get on to obviously the next 4 games that are really big talking points at the moment. But a question to both of you, Marks, here: do you think that we can continue this vein of form that we've got at the moment? Whether you call it form or not, I don't know. For me, it feels like we've just landed in this patch of form because we've got a win at the weekend. But do you think we can continue it and push on for that promotion?
It's an old cliche, but we just got to take each game one at a time.
Yeah.
I know you can't take them all on that, but it's literally take each game on face value. We've got some really big games as we're going to go on to, I'm sure, to come. Some really big sides to come down to Portman Road, and some big ties away from Portman Road. Yeah. So I think we get a little bit too wrapped up on, well, if we win this game, then go there and get a point, and then go somewhere else and get a point. We're going to be, we'll be back in the top 2. If we just focus on the game that's right at hand, and then, if you keep doing that enough times and you win 75% of them, you're going to be laughing, really. We shouldn't have to worry about.
You're right. Mark, where do you think we're at? Just hold on to that one for a sec. Where do you think we're at from your perspective?
I think obviously we have come back into some form after having quite a bit of a tricky period over the Christmas period. So obviously it's important that we get the wins on the board. Obviously we've got some tricky games coming up. Teams that are in and around us as well. Teams that can go the distance and stay there until the end of the season. So there's also teams there like Portsmouth and Sunderland that have come back into their own form. They've got some wins recently, so they're big teams in this league. Listen, at the end of the day, these teams, anyone can beat us. There's no God-given right for us to be winning that league whatsoever. So, we'll just have to see what comes of it. But if we can get the points on the board, if we can beat these sort of sides in and around us, then obviously we'll be there or thereabouts. Yeah,
completely agree with that. Ideally, the Blues picked up a 2-1 win at Tranmere on Saturday, a result in which we can only be described as the tables have finally turned. Fortune favoured the brave, and Town came out victorious in that one. But Tranmere gave us a good game, didn't they, Andy?
Yeah, from what I can remember, it was.
How many points did you had before you got on the ground, mate?
Only a couple.
Couple hundred.
We first. Can I just go back first to say, out of any of the teams we're playing this weekend, it had to be Lincoln, didn't it? Our bogey team at the moment, it seems. So I mean, it's good judge character and see how we get on.
Yeah, it is.
But moving on to last weekend, it felt like quite an even game, really, bit end to end. And I mean, I think our class and quality showed just look at that ball from Norwood at the end to send Jackson through. And Jackson had a couple of chances before that he should have tucked away.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned Norwood there. You know, a bit of class from Lambert, I think, in terms of, you know, the kind of tactics he was using to win that game. I mean, who would have thought Norwood would have been dropped for that game of all the games?
Yeah.
And I know we talked about it at the weekend, but obviously the idea of dropping a player who's so excited to play against his former team. I mean, in a 10-minute spell, we saw probably why he wouldn't have started that game, because it was like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
It's taken everyone out. But
he was smashing around the place like there's his car window at the minute. You're right there. But no, it was a great result. And I said after the Accrington game, that result against Accrington meant nothing if we didn't go to Oxford and at least get a point.
Yeah.
And luckily we still got a game somehow. And then we got the win in, again, poor conditions. Who know Tranmere, the masters of beach football?
Yeah.
I thought it was Brazil. I thought Brazil's all good in that. But,
I didn't like
how
they were
clearly not the masters.
I didn't like how their biggest excuse for losing was that we are Tories. Like, I didn't realise that was we were politically motivated in our attack. Do you believe that? Is that because we play in blue? Yeah, it's a bit tin pot, that, isn't it? But in terms of Tranmere, good side on Saturday and well-deserved win, I think, 2-1. You can't really complain. But
same system again.
Yeah, playing the same system.
So
go on.
I was I wouldn't say concerned, but optimistic that that Lambert was just going to mix it up and do his Lambo Lotto, and God knows what system we would come out with. But it's hopefully same again Saturday, same system.
And you mentioned about system, and this is what I'm getting on to, and the next one is a talking point.
And players.
Exactly, and there's a trio of players that I picked out on, and it's the Welsh trio.
Yeah.
They've turned our fortune round. A lot has been said about these players who produce goals, assists, clean sheets. Not enough is said about the players who put in solid shifts every week. And it couldn't be summarised more than saying the names Gwion Edwards, James Wilson and Emmy Hughes. Now,
nailed on for a yellow card every game.
Gwion
didn't
get one on Saturday, so lay off.
I think he's a bit scared about that picture.
But obviously it's come out this week that Gwion Edwards is the most booked player in League One, having played 19 games with 9 yellow cards.
You can see the tackle as we speak.
Yeah, you could see the tackle every week, but
he got one at Oxford. That wasn't even a yellow card. That was a great tackle.
That was a good tackle.
No, I disagree. That was a definite yellow, boys. I'm afraid.
It was hard done by that.
But in terms of them three players, let me just summarise what they're up to. So Hughes is back from injury. Wilson's coming in after being released, and Edwards is playing out of position. How significant have these players been for us this season? I'll start with you, Mark.
Well, I mean, Hughes, I think, on paper, at the start of the season, was probably the league's best player, or arguably anyway.
Highest paid, we know that.
Yeah, highest paid, and probably for good reason if he's that good of a player. But at the same time, obviously we've got Edwards that's come in and done a job at right back, or right wing back, and then Wilson as well. So Wilson's probably, if it wasn't for Downs, probably player of the year nearly. Yeah. So he's been a revelation since he's come in. So yeah, as I say, all three of them have been brilliant. So
yeah, and they go about their jobs really quietly, because obviously you say there you've got players like Downs, Wolfenden, you've got headline grabbers like Jackson and Norwood who are going to come out top of the polls at the end of the season, but in a promotion season you need to have those players that are doing the jobs behind the scenes and not everyone's looking at. Yeah, and for me, those three players are the ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure they will come out as the headline grabbers at the end of the season. I think people will recognise that they've done a dirty work brilliantly. Yeah. In terms of Wolf and especially Downs, I think Downs kind of nailed on for player of the season at the moment if he carries on. I mean, even if he has a quiet second half of the season, it'll be enough, I think. Yeah.
For you then, boys, out of the three, who is your standout performer this season so far?
Wilson is obviously someone who's really sort of captured headlines, but I have to give credit to Hughes because he's a player who I've said if we're looking to bring players in, he's probably the one that you'd get rid of because he's such a high earner. And I remember sitting with you a few weeks back, it might have been last month. I think Hughes had sort of 3 appearances in a row when he looked really rusty.
Yeah, and Peterborough was the icing on top of the cake, wasn't it?
We sort of thought, Christ, what the hell's happened here? But I think the system, having the settled systems helped. And he's playing a role that I didn't really expect from him. I always saw Hughes as a sort of powerful box-to-box player, someone who break lines, not necessarily be in the box to score goals, but just to drive the team forward. He's now sort of this holding player where Scouse has come out of the team, and he's actually looking really decent there. To be fair,
I think he's done a bit of both, because how many times in the game do you see him driving forward, breaking through that,
take a shot, doesn't he?
and driving through that line in between, and getting in the hole in between defence and midfield of the opposition, and where he does pick up the ball from those deep line areas.
Yeah. And I mean, in 4 games, I don't know if you agree, Mark, but in 4 games, I think he's turned around his season.
Yeah, as I say, he's a quality player. I think the rotation policy didn't help him. It didn't help any of the players, if I'm honest. But especially someone like Hughes who's looking to get a run of games and get that fitness and get that sharpness back. Long may it continue if he stay in the team and put in those performances. But I do agree that obviously, you talk about that Peterborough game. Didn't look great at all. But again, that is just down to games and having that run of games and that confidence as well. He's a confidence player.
Do you agree that all 3 could win Welsh caps if we were to get promoted back to the Championship? I think even now they could be in contention if you're playing well.
Certainly in contention. I think
out of the 3, you'd say Hughes, because competition out wide for Guion is he's got.
And he's not playing. He's
got Gareth Bale, Daniel James.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than both of them.
Yeah, Wilson. I mean,
Wilson's getting on a bit, isn't he?
Wilson. Yeah, I think Hughes is probably the best one, because he was there or thereabouts at one point in his career, and then obviously he's had the bad injuries where he's never really sort of had the chance to capitalise. So, who knows what happens after the season? Scoots is another year older. He's not looking the same player he was. Maybe a little bit leggy now. Downs' future's still to be decided at the end of the season, I feel.
See, this is a point in someone's career. I can actually see Emmy, who's ending his career at Ipswich. He's 26. He's known by. Yeah, exactly. You're right. We all thought he had, and he's come back. And to be honest, if someone's you hear what these managers say about players with injuries, they'll just look at his record and just say, literally, not just put it to a side. They won't touch him at all. So if we were to keep a fit Emmy Hughes, he could be very valuable to us. And yes, he may be on a higher wage,
5-year contract,
but
as well.
He's on a good contract with us. We'll keep him, we'll play him, and he's evidently done what no player's been able to do before, and push Cole Scouse out the starting 11. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing, because for me, I think Scouse has lost his legs. I said this last week, but I think he's a great servant to the club, but it takes a player like Hughes to come in to knock Scouse out the squad.
What kind of I have liked is seeing Scouse drop into that back 3. Because that gives you ability to play out for the back, and Scouse can pick a pass out. He's played 500 games in Championship, so I mean that could be a role we see. Obviously, maybe him in the middle of a back 3.
Yeah, it's interesting, really, and to be honest, I think we can't base really anything we're talking about right now on anything until we get promoted. I think that's the thing. Until we get promoted, I say, like it's an absolute God-given. But you would say with this squad, you'd expect to get promoted. I said it at the start of the season. I still expect it now. Someone did come up with a question on social media. I think I'll visit this one because I didn't visit it with the questions at the end. But they said, if we stayed in League One, would it be as entertaining as it is now? And I know for a fact it won't, because we'll lose half of the wages that we can pay. We'll lose, evidently, these players that we need to sell on.
And the fan base.
And the fan base will just drop down. We'll be in a serious shit, won't we?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We have to get out of this division. As much as we were in the Championship for so long, you saw how much that had an effect on. I think it would be. It would just take time. You'd have to find the right manager and the right way to run the club. And currently, we're not running in the right way. There's potential to run in the right way, how I said a couple of weeks ago, being self-sufficient, and I think that alone would probably attract a lot of fans with the right manager to stick with the club. But if you look at the odds, it's going to get worse before it's going to get better if we were to stay in League One. It's happened to a lot of teams. Some teams just never seem to recover. There's teams who are in this division and lower who have dropped out of the Championship and never recovered.
We certainly don't want to be one of them, do we?
No.
And even though some of those teams are the ones we're battling against to get promoted this year, something that worries me, it keeps popping up every now and again, and I have no idea why. I've tried to make heads or tails of it, but I can't. Town have once again been issued a winding-up petition, which is due to be heard on the 29th of January at the High Court. The club has said that HMRC have made this in error and will retract the petition. Worryingly, this is the third time this has happened: February 16, May 2019 and January 2020. What is going on here? Does anybody know? Because apparently it's due to the club having 3 separate trading statuses, which means each time the process is raised, it's raised against 3 separate businesses. So surely there must be more clarification on this from somewhere.
I think that it was one that is of. So when Evans bought equity in the club, there was certain companies which were set up to push that through. And they haven't all been picked up by HMRC and kind of ticked off the list. That's what I think it's as simple as.
But it seems to come, this is the third occasion now this has come up. And wind-up orders shouldn't be taken lightly. I mean, look at the clubs that have been wound up in the last, few months.
They're going to target clubs.
Yeah, they're going to target big clubs, but look at the ones they have targeted. Bury technically don't exist in the league format anymore. You've got Macclesfield who are there. Southend, I don't know how they're getting on because they don't seem to have played their players for a long time. Are we in a similar situation to those clubs, Mark? Do you know?
I don't think we're quite in that situation yet. I think, obviously...
Well, everything's been paid. It's just admin error.
Well, if we stay in League One, it's like that question earlier. Yeah. I think it's a bit of an odd question. Like, what do you expect? What we stay in League One for the rest of our lives? Yeah, exactly. It's a bit odd, isn't it? You want to get promotion. But if we're staying in League One, size of this club, staying in League One, and then, if we don't, I always said at the start of the season, if we don't get promoted this year, we could be in this league for quite a long while.
It's hugely detrimental to the club, isn't it?
So, finances and things like that will obviously go down, so it's beneficial that we're back in the Championship and then obviously progressing from there.
Yeah.
So.
We're not looking for a quick fix, not in any way, shape or form, but what we're saying is this has been a long process. We knew relegation was coming a good 6 months before it happened. We should have been prepared.
About 3 years before that.
Yeah, we knew. Yeah,
as fans,
we knew where we were as a club. Just it wasn't happening, and evidently we did go down. We were prepared, in my opinion. We were prepared. We've got the squad to challenge in this league. A quick run of form, and we'll be up there. Anyway, let's drop that because we'll go to what is important now. I'll give you a few facts now. Town have all but 7 away games remaining this season, which is a bit terrible for us away day followers, Mark.
Not me.
Not you though. That means you've got 7 days where you sit on your ass at home. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Which means your remaining 11 games are at home this season. You can't argue with that, can you? If you're going to play any games at home, we need to pick up some form, don't we? So our next 4 games could be season shaping, in my opinion. We've got Lincoln at home, Rotherham away, who are obviously top, Peterborough at home, who've slipped down to 9th, crumbling like a pastry at the moment. They haven't lost them yet, have they? Wow. But you're fully expecting to go before the window closes. And Sunderland away, obviously Mark will come on to you there for that one. But these next 4 are season shaping. These ones are the ones that we need to win. Now, if you win both your home games here and get a point at least one of those other 2, I think we'll do well. Would you agree?
I think when you look at it, when you play, especially being a club aiming to be promoted at the first time of asking, if there's teams there. Lincoln we lost away. Yeah. Rotherham we lost at home. You don't want to have. You want to get revenge on them, and you don't want to be beaten twice, or you at least want to get a win in one of those games, whether it's home or away. Like I said, we're coming to a really tough spell, and it's not just these games. After this, we've still got Portsmouth and Doncaster and other. Like Mark was saying, anyone can beat anyone. Yeah. The league. What I love about League One, I don't want to stay in it for another season, but what I love about it is every team can be fucking amazing and equally as shit from week to week. Yeah. We could go, for example, we go to Accrington, take that as an example. They beat us 2-0, and we look like the team that have come up from League Two, and they look like the teams coming down from the Championship. On the reverse fixture, they look like the pub team that they've been recognised us, and we looked like the team that come down the Championship. Now I felt for Acton that day because I know they've played a lot better than that, but it's just what League One is. It's just full of inconsistent teams and players. That's why we're in this division. But like I was saying earlier, we just got to take each game on merit. Like with that in mind, that any team can be as good or as shit as anyone else in the league at any given time, and not look too far ahead. It all starts Saturday, and make sure we get the win on Saturday, and then the rest will follow, hopefully.
Yeah, well, so we'll come on to Lincoln in a minute. But Mark, I know you're looking forward to Sunderland away coming up. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so obviously I'm going up to Sunderland on the Friday night. My missus and her family, they all support Sunderland, so they all come from up there. So
we've got to get a win then.
Yeah, we've got to get a win, well, for my sake anyway. So I'm in the home end with them. So that'll be a bit. It'll be a bit sickening, but
you've had an absolute group.
You'll be in a Sunderland shirt as well.
Yeah. Can you do an Adebayor if we score?
I'll be out in the seat. I know that. But yeah, so that would be a good one to do, and then obviously coming on the channel, speaking with you guys as well. So, but yeah, again, they're a side that has gone back into their form. Had a bit of a shit start to the season, but I think Paul, what's his name, Parkinson, is obviously got him playing well now. So, but they're only a few points behind us in the table.
A threat, do you believe?
I mean, it's difficult. The starts of the season they had wasn't great, and they're now coming into that form, and we're in that form now. Yeah. So there's no reason why teams like Sunderland or any other team can get into that form and challenge us. So
no, you're right. I'm getting all the beliefs that we can actually go on and do this now. Andy, what do you think about it, mate?
I mean, you've got to believe that you can do it. Fans, it's our job to turn up every week, whether you're home and away.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And back to team.
Yeah.
So
you're right, mate. Yeah.
I mean, but it is down to the players and the manager, but we've got to do our bit.
Sorry, mate, I've had you on toast there. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Look, boys, Lincoln this Saturday, and unfortunately we've had to play them 3 times already this season. And to be honest, I don't think any of them's been a decent game. Well, I'd say the only decent game.
For the last 3 years, we haven't had decent.
Yeah, we just don't. Lincoln seemed to be a beggar side.
Game for a neutral.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, played them just before New Year, and they battered us 5-3, like you said. Maybe we should thank them for setting us up on our current run of form, which evidently started post Tinselbank. So, it was a wake-up call, and I think that's what I said after the game. I think it was a wake-up call for the boys.
I don't think I've ever seen us beat Lincoln.
We don't play it.
No,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't go to the FA Cup game. Evidently, we were sitting on our sofa. No, we beat them in the FA Cup.
Did we?
This season.
Judge made Dan.
Judge scored, remember? Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. But yeah, we were at home on a sofa. Were you at that one?
Oh yeah, we're at Dan's.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
to see if that Walker plays.
Say that again.
Walker, is it the top scorer?
Tyler Walker, yeah. I mean,
he's got a bit of beef with us.
He didn't start against us, did he? When we went there, 5-3.
He did.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. You must have had too many tinnies, mate. Yeah, you definitely weren't there. Let's just have a look at this quickly, and we'll get on to Tyler Walker. He had actually been to the off licence that day. It was I'm not very comfortable with us sitting inside this gym bar tonight, mate, because I know you're a recovering alcoholic. He just loves to drink, don't he? Town are currently unbeaten in the last 4 with wins against Accrington and Tranmere and draws against High-Flying Oxford and Wickham. Since playing Town, Lincoln have had 5 bouts in League One with 3 wins, beating Bolton, Blackpool and Peterborough, and I think the other 2 were draws. I didn't pick that one out. Tyler Walker has now got 14 goals in League One this season. Now, I've got to give the guy some credit. He's got some panache in this league. He scores goals from anywhere. I mean, he was chasing lost causes against us, and they were going. He scored twice in the obviously the reverse fixture. He scored once at Portman Road. That's a hat-trick of goals against what a lot of people will be saying is the best team in League One this season.
We've actually conceded the joint fewest goals in the league. I think with Sunderland and I don't know who else. But Lincoln are up there as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously I already said I couldn't remember him playing, so I couldn't comment. But he's obviously got something about him if he's scored 15. And
best ball for Sunderland.
Don't say that. He scored 14, mate. So don't say that. All right. Des Walker's son, he's obviously, he doesn't know how to defend at all. But
Neither did Des Walker.
yeah, exactly. What was the thing? You'll never beat Des Walker. That's what they used to sing, wasn't it? But in my opinion, he deserves plaudits because he's been this kind of player that just comes out of nowhere and just hits you, especially when you're down. And they battered us. Lincoln absolutely battered us, and we weren't too bad in the first half. We kind of dropped off, and then that goal just before half time killed us, didn't it? Really,
it did. But we actually got to take, like you say, some positives from that game. I don't know what was said in that dressing room, whether Lambert went around and gave a few Glaswegian kisses, or they just had it out. They were there quite a while.
When they locked him in the changing room.
Yeah,
for a good hour and a half, and we found out afterwards that poor Mike had stood outside waiting for Lambert all night to give him a bottle of whiskey for Christmas.
Reason for this 5-year deal, I think Lambert took that back to Evans' office, and they had a heart.
Been a catalyst. We wouldn't have known.
But who would have thought it? Lincoln's changing room is potentially what's turned the season around. Could actually be the reason why. Hopefully, we get promoted.
Team bonding and Charles.
Yeah, whatever they've done, whether the players have had their say, they don't think's going. There was obviously some frustrations. Chambers' interview was evident there was something not right.
Well, we picked up on body language that day that just hadn't seen at all. And they were picking on Gwion Edwards, weren't they? You could see it.
I mean, I don't think he's to blame, but he was a bit of a scapegoat that game.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that was a bit of a turning point in the season. And obviously, I guess Lambo picked up on it, and I expect that was probably spoken about quite a lot in dressing room after the match. Yeah.
And a few choice words, I would imagine, but let's just look at Lincoln a bit more. Michael Abden has absolutely turned their fortunes around this season. I mean, they looked destined for the drop when they lost the Cowley brothers, I would have said. Purely because they were such man motivators. Obviously, with Lincoln, they had that bond, but they've gone on to Huddersfield and not had that much of an impact. I mean, Huddersfield are struggling, aren't they, this season? To me, no surprise with bloody Chalabar in the midfield, but there you go. But there's one thing I picked up on this week. Interestingly, they've just signed Teo Eden, who was a complete flop for us last season.
No, he scored that goal against Blackburn.
Oh, fuck off. He is not a good...
poked him in the eye and he was out for about a month, so...
The goal was a complete fluke for us set off, and we were not in that game against Blackburn at all, and I think that set us off on a false path. But Teo Eden, let's start with you, Mark. What did you think of him when he was at Portman Road? Of what little you saw of him, anyway?
Well, I didn't really see much of him, to be honest. Only notable thing you can say is what you said, like with the goal at Blackburn. It's just he wasn't. I don't think he was ever going to get in our side permanently. He's just typical kind of youngster that got in. What was it, on loan from Fulham, I think.
I think he kind of thought he was going to go straight into the squad, and I thought that was a bit arrogant. But the player himself, not a bad player. Not he could spray the ball about properly. It was just the position for me that wasn't quite settled. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything because he's going to score on Saturday.
Oh, for God's sake, it's gone and said it now. What would you say? Go on, mate.
I think the fact that Trev was in the team ahead of him says a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right. If Trevor Chalabar was in front of him,
I do quite like him, actually. To be fair, he's got a strange style of play and kicking the ball, and a bit of a strange mop on his head. But
you talk about Chalabar, not Teo Eden, right? Okay. Having won, drawn, and lost against the Imps so far this season, I see this one as a level playing field, boys. I think mentally, having come out of that 5-3 and pushed on, the boys will be well up for a grilling this weekend. I think they'll have them on toast. I really think it's a chance for revenge. In the case of not so distant battering and the possibility of continuing an unbeaten run from going into the final 18 games. Well, it's going to be 17 after this weekend, but we've got to do it, haven't we?
We've got to. It's. I've lost my point now.
I wonder how many changes he's going to make, though. I wonder if he's actually going to make changes, because he's got Rotherham, I think, next Tuesday. So he might be inclined to make changes because he's got 2 games in a week.
Yeah, I know.
Or 3 games.
I know what you're thinking. And to be honest, I don't think he's been forced to make changes in the last 4 games where we've played. I think we played Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, and then we had a week off. Yeah. And he wasn't forced to make changes in the Saturday, Tuesday prior to that, and that was obviously with Wickham and what was the home game we played? Accrington, was it?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're 2 different classes of game, I would say, but you're right, there could be changes, and with Rotherham in mind. But like Mark said, I think we need to take each one as it comes, and this one's more important than the next one, in my opinion. Yeah. Until you get a result at home, like, we're going to struggle, aren't we?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I mean, we just spoke about mentality and kicking on after the Link game. I think this is more important, beating them now, than the mentality coming out of the Lincoln game, because they've been a bogey team for us, as we've already said, and it really could start a run of form. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see Keane start again on Saturday, or even Kosciuszko come in at centre back, or even midfield. Give one of them a rest in the middle. So
there's a common misconception that Keane comes into the squad and plays badly because he doesn't score, but he's playing really well, isn't he? And on Saturday, I think if I'm right, he set up Garbett for the cross that set up the goal.
I think we've finally worked out what sort of player he is. He's not a player, although he's really quite big, and you'd expect him to be winning the flicks. He just can't. But we know now he's very technically good with his feet, and he can bring it down. So that's what we're going for.
This is where he'll push on from his career. He'll become a real player with consistency, and I'd like that to be with Ipswich Town.
He has been consistent over the last kind of 5 or so games.
He has completely.
He's scored more goals at Ipswich than he has in the rest of his career.
Yeah.
So it says, he's clearly enjoying it here. Yeah. I think he's got a good relationship. I remember when he came back. I think he's got a good relationship with John Nolan. I think that's probably one of the, it's a good reason to. Yeah. I think, he was decent for us. Like Andy said, he played to his strengths, and he's a great player. Yeah. Like any player, I think we said about Norwood a couple of weeks ago. Maybe he's been used to playing to his strengths, but he's still got plenty to offer for us. But same with Keane, we use him to his strengths when we need him, and it's paying off at the minute, to be honest.
Completely agree. Tonight, everybody, we are in Three Wise Monkeys. We're down in the gin cellar. Bit quiet down here, boys, isn't it? Like you said, it's a bit like an MI5 interrogation room, really, isn't it? But very attractive in the same sense. But I think no one at the bar. I mean, go and help yourself, mate, if you want. No, but they've opened this up for us tonight, so that we could come down here. I saw this bit, and it's quite picturesque. And to be honest, I think we should come down here for a session. They've invited us down for a session, so after our home game, he's definitely well keen about it. Not tonight. It's got to go into the missus, but it's lovely down here. Make sure you get down here. I'm going to test out the restaurant as well. Like, I've not heard much about it, and to be honest, I'm in the same boat as probably anyone who hasn't been down here. I've not seen anything about this on social media, anything about the restaurant they've got upstairs. They get fresh meat in every day. They're basically like a steakhouse, but like a smokehouse that no one knows about it. So
it's a nice bar. I've been a few times. Been here a few times after work. Yeah. And you're gonna say no surprise.
No surprise.
But I didn't know about the restaurant, so it'd be nice to check out.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Mark, you've got one in Colchester, haven't you? Three Wise Monkeys. Similar setting, is it?
Well, I think Colchester one's probably a little bit bigger. Yeah. But they've got a gym bar as well. It's good. Very good.
Football club ain't big.
Everything's bigger in Colchester apart from the football club. Yeah, you're right. Boys, any other business? And so I put out on social media today any more questions, and there was some three really good ones I think we should end on today. The first one is, if you could sign one player from League One, who would it be? So I'll give you a few seconds, and I'll give you a start for 10. My one is one of those players. It's just like the heart and soul of a team. Maybe someone you could rely on when you're down in the dumps. Someone who could give you that extra little something. And mine is going to be Ronan Curtis, Portsmouth. I think he was supposed to move on earlier on in the transfer window. but he was, when we played him, absolutely outstanding. He was absolutely tearing our right hand side up.
Should never have scored that goal though.
He's-
Just take him out.
Yeah, you're right. In some senses, you're right, but in other senses, he made us look silly that day. And for me, Ronan Curtis is the one that I'd like to see in Ipswich shirt. Maybe I'm just dreaming. But have you got any ideas of a player, Mark? Anyone in particular that you know of?
He'd never come here, but Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
He's different gravy, that kid. He's
Doesn't wear a headband though.
yeah. But yeah, no, he's a good player, and I expect him to go on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, because when we played Peterborough, he tore us a new arsehole, really, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember going to that game, and he was lightning, and he outplayed us pretty much the whole game.
That's really interesting because I mean it's his fault. We kind of got the equaliser really because he was wandering back from offside position. He completely kicked the ball away.
I mean, if he was in that box at that point, I'm not sure if he was, but if he was in that box, he probably would have been. Yeah, he'd probably been the one who got his head to it because he's so strong in the air.
But he's but he's that sort of player who kind of does pop up and does do that sort of thing, kicking the ball away.
Yeah.
A bit arrogant, I think, but yeah, quality player.
Yeah, definitely, 100% agree. What are you going for, Mark?
Hard choice. I'd love to take one of Peterborough's players away and just not play him. Take Tony or Madison away and just not play him. Yeah, just bench him. Just so Derek McAnton even steps down. But I'd say probably. I don't know.
Just quickly, did you see what he said in the week? That he said if what was it? Something like they don't get promoted.
If they don't get. I think he said playoffs, so he's obviously not that confident.
Yeah.
He's going to resign.
Oh,
so
that was chairman.
Yeah. So good luck.
Looking forward to that then. I'd love to see. Like he generally won't resign from owning that club, will he?
No. So if I have to pick a player, it's probably not the most popular choice, but I thought he played really well. And when I've seen him play in other games, Tom Naylor, who's sort of midfielder for Portsmouth, completely controls that team.
Highly rated as well.
Really good player. So I think he'd probably be the perfect replacement for Cole Scouse if that time comes and we had the money. He'd probably be the player I'd look at to get.
Yeah, definitely. Andy, what about you, mate? Anyone in particular?
I don't know. It's a bit of a hard one because you could say someone like Ivan Toney, but he wouldn't really suit our style of play at the moment, I don't think. And we've got people like Norwood. I think he's the second highest scorer in England over the last calendar year.
Yeah.
Midfield, I would say an attacking midfielder, but look who we've got. We've got Hughes, Judge, Bishop, just to name a few on one hand, this hand. And then centre backs, I don't know, maybe a quality goalkeeper.
We couldn't have Whitby here because Whitby would just say Rick or Toto.
Oh yeah, the same old story.
I think a quality keeper. Norris is on loan, but he's not our player. He's good enough, not outstanding.
Anyone stood out for you in League One?
Don't know, to be honest.
Mate, do you even know who he doesn't even know what he's talking about, does he? Quality goalkeeper in League One.
No, I think
come on,
good.
roll them off.
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. You've got Christy Pinwood, obviously jumped to mind.
Is it Bonham at Gillingham? I think he's doing quite well at the minute.
Not too bad.
Thomas Hurley's quite good, I hear.
Yeah. No, we haven't seen much of him, have we?
Yeah, he's a good quality League One keeper, I heard, but don't see much of him.
I genuinely think we don't really need any additions, and we're forgetting KVY. How big is KVY going to be when he comes back?
It'll be like a new signing, won't it?
It's gonna be game changing.
The best thing to come out of Colchester in a long time, apart from Mark Tuxford, obviously.
Frank Neville.
Flack, did you say?
Clack.
All right. Flack. Oh my God, blunder after blunder tonight. Right. The next question was Judge or Bishop to start in the number 10 role on Saturday. Now, obviously, let's give this a bit of background. The number 10 could have been said to be Nolan's a few games ago. Yeah, let's say 5-6 games ago. Poor run of form. Judge has come back in and made it his own. Played really consistently. Wickham, he stood out. Could have had a goal there. He obviously scored against Accrington. In the last two, he's been very consistent.
Yeah, I thought he was surprisingly quiet against.
I think they picked him out as a target,
against Tranmere, because how many shots in away at Oxford did he have in the first 10-15 minutes? Yeah. I mean, must have been a handful. But I can't remember him seeing. I can't remember seeing him having a shot against Tranmere.
No. So. No, you're right. I think he got iced out of the game.
So that's why I say Bish.
Yes,
he's had a good few handful again, substitute appearances.
Bloody hell. How many hands you got, mate?
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for him to start.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Bishop's been playing well when he's come on, but do we think it's ready? I'll come to you first, Mark. Do you think it's ready for a start?
Possibly, but I don't think I'd put him in for Judge just yet because Judge has had a good month. He's playing well, and I feel like if you take him out now, his confidence might shatter a little bit.
Yeah.
So
he's just making up to people on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I think keep giving him his run.
Yeah.
Bishop's can come on and change the game. We've seen that. So there's no reason why he can't do that again on Saturday, or Tuesday, whenever. But as I say, there might be changes anyway because of these players, with their fitness and stuff. So you might see Bishop get at least. I reckon he'll get a start either Saturday or Tuesday.
Yeah, you're right, and we'll come on to your point in a second. But it's very important to still have players that can come on from a bench and make an impact. And Bishop's one of those at the moment for me.
Yeah, changed the game at Tranmere. I think you got to give credit to Lambert. As much as the Norwood sub won us the game, Bishop got us back into it without a shadow of a doubt. As for who starts on Saturday, I've said it quite a lot on Twitter recently. It's horses for courses, really. Now we've got this system that we're settled on. That was the most important thing. It's you.
But players
you play it. They don't win your games. You have to settle with. You put who in the team who you think is going to cause the most disruption to the other team. So Judge against Wickham and Accrington was the players linking things up, and I think that's what we needed because there are teams that Wickham are a bit of a defensive team. You could say sat in quite a bit. Same with Accrington, were a little bit defensive, whereas against Tranmere, we're against quite a big physical long ball team. The ball wasn't going to be. They were as soon as the ball was coming back to them, it was getting hoofed back. You'd get the ball down into Bishop, and Bishop would just drive. Probably should have had, I don't know if it was inside the box, and it was just outside. We should have had a free kick right on the edge, and that was sort of the catalyst for. We could see where we're going to get the game back into the game.
I was right down at the front.
You weren't, were you?
About to watch Pitch Invasion, which I did not partake in. I sat down in my seat, allocated seat, and that was definitely inside the box, 100% a penalty. But they're two different players. Bish drives in and out of plays. Is very mobile and he will attack and go through players. Judge is kind of more defence, splitting passes, bit sideways, and so they are two different players. So it'll be interesting to see how we line up.
Yeah, 100% agree, boys. I think we're going to have to end it there. But on the final question tonight, it's come from Concerned Fan saying, is Lewis okay after his life-threatening fall at the weekend? We don't know. He's still in Liverpool University Hospital in intensive care.
I think there's some seismic activity after that.
Yeah, apparently there was an earthquake when he fell over, but I didn't hear. I didn't feel the tremors.
No, we'd like to wish Lee well, but sorry, mate, it was fucking hilarious. That's the best thing I've laughed.
I've watched that video 1,000 times and I still laugh at every time.
You're all the views.
It was quality. Yeah, I'm all the views.
For guys who don't know, I'm usually behind the camera and I always miss something between these two at half time. So I thought I'm going to record, and lo and behold, I captured the funniest thing probably we've had.
I think the most timely thing was that burger. I mean, bloody
Jimbo
Jimbo must have been absolutely having fits at home when he saw the burger fly across the screen and then Lou falling over. But Jimbo, I hope you like that one, mate. Leave a comment after this one. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. You don't want to miss out on any of the action. We do this every week. The 12th Man is a weekly show. We also have our match day vlogs, but there's much, much more to come. I want to thank Mark for coming from Colchester tonight. Mark, obviously, on your long drive home, mate. And Andy, from your armchair. But yeah, thanks for this. And until next time, come on, you Blues.